For this chapter study, we're going to look at some world grooves. Now, it's going to be incorporating some different rhythms and styles from different musics that I love to play. And let's go ahead and jump on in. Okay, we're going to start off with some reggae. It comes from Jamaica. Definitely recommend if you like reggae, check out some Bob Marley, Peter Tosh. There's some really great roots reggae, and then there's also cool reggae as the decades progress too, all the way to modern times. But you really can't go wrong with Bob Marley. So check into that. Okay, now, interesting rhythm approach for reggae. We're going to be hitting on the ands of the beats, and what I recommend is to keep steady kind of rhythm happening with your right hand too. We're going to kind of keep strumming. Okay, I'll just be repeating all these examples one time, but I definitely recommend repeat them a bunch and get inside of them. Okay, now for number one, we're just going to be doing a G major bar chord, and then I'm going to start us off with doing some muted 16th notes, and we're only going to hit the and of the beat. So if we go down, up for each beat, we're going to accent or actually hit the and of the beat. So it'll be like this: rest, E, and, rest, E, and, rest, E, and, rest, E, and. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and repeat this a little bit. This will be number 1A, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm keeping my shape the whole time. I'm just going to release it a bit to get my muted and then press it when I'm actually going to hit the note. Okay, now if you feel comfortable with that, you could release some of your ghost notes and just hit the ands of the beat, but I do recommend keep your strumming happen. Okay, now here's going to be with less ghost notes, and I might hit some occasionally, and that just adds to the feel. 1, 2, 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So try to incorporate some ghost notes there towards the end. Have fun with them. If you could fill in those if you'd like. Okay, for number two, now we're going to go into a 2-bar progression. We're going to go from an A minor bar chord into a D minor bar chord, and you could hit your ghost notes if you like, or just try to accent the ands. I'll be doing a little bit of both. Okay, here comes number two. 1, 2, 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for number three, now we're going to be going from a C major bar chord off of the 5th string into a B flat major bar chord off of the same string. Okay, 1 bar each. It's a 2-bar progression. Here we go. 1, 2, 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for number four, we're going to have 2 beats of different chords rolling for this one. It's still a 2-bar progression, but we're going to go 2 beats of F, 2 beats of G minor, 2 beats of B minor, into 2 beats of C. Okay, here comes number 4. 1, 2, 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for the next 4 examples, we're going to talk about some Bossa Nova. Okay, Bossa Nova is a great style of music from Brazil. I play a lot of Brazilian music. I definitely recommend, if you're interested in Brazilian music, check out Antonio Carlos Jobim, the composer. He wrote a lot of the standards that we play today, including like The Girl from Ipanema and a lot of sambas too. So if you're interested in Bossa Nova, check into it, because samba is kind of another similar pattern too, but with a faster beat. And we'll talk about that in the next book. Okay, now for Bossa Nova, I'm going to start us off with kind of a basic pattern. It's going to be a thumb and claw technique. So I'm going to be using my thumb, and then my index, middle, and ring finger is going to work as a claw to get some of my chord notes. Okay, so thumb's sort of in charge of the bass, and we're gonna start off just on an A minor. So my thumb's just gonna be hitting the open A string, but eventually we'll start hitting some different bass notes and we'll start rotating with our thumb. But for this one, just keep your thumb on the 5th string, and we're gonna hit a quarter note on beat 1 in our bass with our thumb on the open 5th string. Now on beat 2, grab your claw on the first 3 strings, and we're gonna do a chord on beat 2 as a quarter note. Now on beat 3, we're gonna hit another bass note. So our bass notes are going to be on 1 and 3, but we're going to hit the end of beat 3 with a chord pop and let that linger through the downbeat. It's tied over to the first 8th note on beat 4, and then we'll hit another 8th note on the end of 4. Okay, here comes number 5. I'll play it nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... Okay, here it is a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here is just a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for number 6, we're going to rotate from a C major 7 chord to a G7. So I'm going to have Bossa Nova pattern for the first bar with my C major 7. And I'm going to switch it to a G7, and I'm going to let my thumb go down to the low 6th string. And it's going to get that bass note. And I want to point out that the claw has shifted to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string now. So we're hitting some more mid-rangey notes with our chords. Okay, here comes number 6, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... Here's number 6 a little faster. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... Okay, now continuing on for part 2 of the study. Number 1, we're going to keep our Bossa Nova going here, and we're going to start off with the D minor in open position. And for this one, we're going to rotate a bass line with a root. I'm going to have my thumb hitting the open 4th string. On beat 3, I'm going to shift down and hit the open 5th string, and that's going to give us a root and 5th bass line. So it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's always cool to hit the roots in your bass. It's also really nice to do bass lines, and you could do roots and 5ths. You could put the 5th up, or you could put the 5th down, and we'll explore a little bit of both of those. Okay, now for bar 1, we're going to have our D minor with our rotating bass line. Okay, now we're going to switch it to a G7 in open position. We'll hit our low G in the 6th string on the 3rd fret for the first bass note. Okay, now on beat 3 this time, I'm going to hit my open D string, and that's going to give us a root and 5th bass line in G. So I'm still doing that same concept as the 2 chords move around. Okay, here comes number 1, nice and slow. And my claw has now gone back to the first 3 strings. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... Here's a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here is a little faster than that. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... Okay, for number 2, we're going to start off with an A minor 7 in open position. And for this one, we're going to rotate from an open 5th string in our bass on beat 1 to a higher 5th on the 2nd fret on the 4th string. And it's already built into our chord. So bar 1 is going to sound like this. Now we're going to switch it to a C major 7 in open position, and this one will hit a lower 5th on beat 3. And I'm just pivoting down to the low 6th string on the 3rd fret with my ring finger. Okay, here comes number 2 slow. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... 3, 4. Okay, these last four examples are going to be some jazz concepts. You could think of this coming from the USA. I did study jazz. I went to Sonoma State University. I did the jazz program there, which was really cool. I recommend it. It helped me learn some of the chords and learn some of these scales that we've been talking about. And also it was great to meet some really cool musicians and teachers, and I learned so much also from just my peers, but I definitely took a lot of lessons and I did the full education for that. So if you're interested in jazz, think about hooking up with some musicians, do some homework on your own, or check into some lessons and some jazz studies. And also junior college is a great way to go too if you want to get a little exposure into kind of what it's all about. Okay, now for these examples, we're going to be doing some chords and then walking bass lines. And I want to point out that we have a swung feel for jazz for all these examples, and think of it like our swung eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that'll give you some of that swung feel. Okay, if you want to play with a pick or thumb and claw, you could do it either way for this one. Let's start off with a pick. Now, have a G7 bar chord off of your 3rd fret 6th string. Okay, now we're going to hit a chord on beat 1, and then we're just going to do a bass line, open 6th string, 1st fret to 2nd fret. We're going to climb ourselves back up to the note G. So number 3A is going to sound like this. So we're going to be walking a bass line basically as we pop chords. Okay, now if we want to go thumb and claw technique, you could just use your claw, and I'm going to have them on my 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, and this would be this concept. Here's number 3B a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. For number 4, we're going to do a similar concept in C, so I'm going to be working off of a C9. Okay, for this one, I'm going to hit my C9 on beat 1, and then I'm going to have my open A string, 1st fret to 2nd fret, leading me back up. Now for this one, for your bass line, I can go hit my 1st chord, open, use my index for the 1st fret, and then a little tip is use your middle finger for the 2nd fret. That'll take you right up to your C9 chord since we've got our middle finger on the root. Okay, here comes number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's number 4 a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5, we're going to rotate from a G7 to a C7, and we're going to lead in with bass lines leading us to each chord. Okay, now on beat 1, we'll hit a G7 on beat 1. Now we're going to climb up to a C9 with that same concept, open A string, 1st fret, 2nd fret. We'll land on a C9. And then from here, we're going to come back to G with an open 6th string, 1st to 2nd fret. And it's basically going to be a bar each with our walking bass line taking us up to each chord. Okay, here's number 5 slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's number 5 a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here is even faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for number 6, we're going to just add a little flavor to this one. We're going to hit our 1st chord as 8th notes on beat 1. We'll hit our G7 2 times. We're going to climb up to a C9 again, but we're going to use a B9 as a passing chord. So I'm going to hit my G7 chord twice. Now open A string, 1st fret A string. I'm going to have my B9 shape off the 2nd fret, leading me into a C9, and we'll hit 8th notes on our C9. So hit that 2 times. Now we're going to climb down again, open E string, 1st fret E string, and this time we'll climb up from a F sharp 7 chord into our G7 chord to climb it again. So we have 2 approach chords, if you will, for this one. Okay, here comes number 6 slow. 1 and 2, 3, 4. faster. On 1, 2, 3, 4.